What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk to you about this rod. I got it just this year, and I'd heard a lot about St. Croix, and it really lived up to its name. So some quick backstory. This is actually my first ever St. Croix rod. St. Croix is a name that, especially in the Northeast, I hear about kind of a lot. A lot of guys out in the surf use it, especially Martha's Vineyard. I see a lot of these Mojos, a lot of the bigger, heavier St. Croix rods, and I've also seen them for, freshwater stuff. I'd say they're a pretty reputable name. I never owned one, no one in my family had. I used for most of my fishing career a Fenwick 8-foot rod. I've made actually a video about it. This rod was amazing. But unfortunately, I don't think Fenwick makes it anymore, and it snapped this fall. I broke my rod. So I needed to get a new rod, and I wanted something similar, but maybe even better. So this is when this rod came to my attention. So Swing, who we fish with a lot this fall, especially for the fall albacore. Swing back. He used this. He's been using it for a couple years now, and I'd always seen him with it, and he catches a lot of fish. He caught way more than us, and he was using this the whole time. So as soon as I snapped my rod, pretty much that day we went out and I actually picked this up for $140, which for this rod it's a good price. So for some quick stats, this rod is 7'6", so 7 feet 6 inches. It has a cork handle and also this interesting cork with the composite butt. Most rods you'll see will just have a total cork all the way down. I actually really enjoy this. It really cuts down on the weight and pretty unique. It makes it a cool casting experience. It has 8 eyes and it is a very fast action rod. Now, if you don't know what action on a rod is, it pertains to where the rod bends. So the faster the action, the straighter and more rigid the shaft will become, and then the higher up it'll bend. So a super slow action, you'll see them on boats, they bend, the whole rod bends. This one right here, it's really only the top that bends, and it comes in handy when fighting the false albacore, fighting fast fish. It's also good for casting. Now when it comes to rods, I think there's really only 3 things that matter: the weight, the strength of the rod, and then how it casts. I think that's really all people care about. So first off, on the weight of the rod, it's really light. There's really nothing else to say. It's a light rod. It feels really durable though, but it's definitely, when I pair it up with my VR50, which I've also reviewed, this is one of the lighter reels around. It's a really good feeling to have something so light. It doesn't tire you out. I can cast it all day, and it's great. The second thing is strength of the rod and just how durable it is. Now I'll say this rod right here, because it has a fast action, it has a good backbone. It doesn't feel flimsy. You don't feel like it would break. It has a decent thickness, and also the eyes are very well reinforced, even all the way up to the very top. Sometimes on rods they'll feel a little flimsy, but these eyes feel really nice. And the whole backbone of this rod is really awesome. Alright, so lastly is casting, and I think this might be the most important thing. This rod is a smaller rod. Now usually the bigger the rod, the farther you can cast. And I'll tell you, compared with my 8-foot rod, it does cast about the same actually. I'd say it casts a little less far, but usually that's a big negative. But on this rod, it's kind of in a unique situation. So especially for false albacore and where I fish, it's not as much about the distance, because a lot of fish you catch, they'll hit really close to shore. Now I can't say that about every fishery. So if having really far cast distance matters to you, this rod, it's worth considering getting something maybe a little bigger that can cast a little farther. But if you're on a boat, if you're on doing light tackle on a boat, this would work really well, because it's where you lose casting distance, it makes up for in weight savings. It's very light, and it feels nice to use the whole time. Couple other things to note: it's important how a rod fights a fish as well. I think it's usually overlooked. Some of the bigger rods I've used, you can run into issues where you can lose the fish because it's too hard to keep the pressure up. With this rod, it's actually nice. I've only lost 1 fish on it. I'd say overall it does fight fish nice. Drawbacks to this rod: Now, I guess you could say casting is kind of a drawback, but for me, it isn't really. But another thing that this rod struggles with is the fact that it's a one piece. Now I know most rods out there are one piece, but this can be definitely an issue, and not for any fishing reasons, but more just for storage and transportation issues. So we travel in a pickup truck usually when we're on the vineyard, when we're fishing, but this rod is just a little too big to go in the bed. Vertically, it doesn't fit in a normal size pickup bed, and it definitely doesn't fit in the Jeep. So that's my really only complaint about this rod, is the fact that it is a one piece. Now I know what you're saying, just get a rod rack, and that's what we're probably gonna end up doing, because I've spent way too much time trying to fit this thing in the back of a pickup, and I almost lost the eye on it, and I don't want that to ever happen again. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Definitely check this thing out, I'll link it below. Coming up actually is, well, hopefully soon, the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We're at about 920 right now, and hopefully a couple weeks we'll hit that 1,000 mark. I don't know what I'm going to do for the giveaway, but it's going to be great, so make sure to keep watching the videos, because that'll be coming out soon. Alright guys, see you next week. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking to you about this reel.